All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we are tackling Exceptional or Nothing by Paul Robinson. This book, man, it really kind of flips the script on, what it takes to be exceptional, achieve remarkable things. And we're going to get a little obsessed today.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, the idea of healthy obsession. This is something that, Robinson really dives into, how it fuels people to reach extraordinary heights.
Yeah. Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head there. I think Robinson really challenges all of us to rethink how we view success.
Right.
And to realize that it's not just about talent or luck.
It's not a lottery ticket.
It's not. It's about really cultivating that laser focus, that commitment to a singular purpose, that drive that can even border on obsession, right?
Yeah, and I love how he doesn't shy away from that word, obsession, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times we think about obsession as kind of a negative thing, but he actually reframes it as a powerful tool, for achieving greatness. And, full disclosure, huge fans of Robinson's work here. We've kind of seen, firsthand how these ideas can really transform, your perspective.
Absolutely. And one of the things I really appreciate about Robinson's work is that he really breaks this concept down into actionable steps.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So it's not just like, oh, be obsessed. He's like, okay, here's how you make that leap from being interested in something to being fully committed.
Right.
Right. So think about it. Like, you can be interested in fitness.
Sure.
But to really transform your body, you need that unwavering dedication of an athlete.
Yeah, no, that's a great analogy. And it kind of ties into another principle from the book that I really, really resonated with. 100% responsibility, 0% excuses.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
He argues that exceptional people, they own their journey no matter what obstacles they face.
Right.
It's like, you know what? This is on me. Like, how do I change this situation?
What areas of your life right now, as you're listening, could benefit from a dose of that radical responsibility?
Yeah. Think about that for a second.
It's a big question.
It's a great question to ponder.
Because when you eliminate those excuses, you really empower yourself to take control and make real progress, right? And that leads to another point that Robinson makes, the importance of investing in yourself.
Yes.
Right.
And this is huge. And this one really hit home for me. I remember there was a time when I was really hesitant to invest in this professional development course. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of money, Felt like a big commitment. And I kept putting it off. And finally I just said, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing it. I took the plunge, and it was a game changer. Mm-hmm. I mean, for my career. Mm-hmm. The knowledge, the skills I gained, it opened up so many opportunities. And I think that's what Robinson's getting at, right?
Absolutely.
When he says...
And I've seen this play out so many times in the business world.
Right.
Those entrepreneurs who really prioritize learning and development, they're the ones who consistently stay ahead of the curve. They're not afraid to invest in themselves because they understand that knowledge, that's their most valuable asset.
Yeah, he compares, it's brilliant, he compares your mind to the most valuable piece of real estate you'll ever own. And like any investment, like any good investment, the returns can be exponential.
And that's so powerful, right? Because it's like, it's not just about money. It's about, investing in your skills, your knowledge, your relationships, your health. Like, all of these things compound over time.
Absolutely. But let's be real for a second, right?
Okay.
Even when we're super passionate about something, procrastination can still rear its ugly head.
Oh, tell me about it. We all struggle with that.
Right. It's the universal, struggle.
Yes.
But Robinson, he offers some really powerful strategies for overcoming it.
He does.
And one of his key insights, and this was big for me, is that exceptional people, they have this bias towards action. They don't wait for the perfect moment.
Yeah.
They just start doing.
Just start.
Even if it means taking small, imperfect steps.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Just get started.
Just get started. Done is better than perfect.
Absolutely.
And speaking of imperfect action, right? He also emphasizes the importance of, what? Embrace failure.
Yes.
A learning opportunity. Don't look at it as a defeat.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's valuable feedback. You can use that, right?
Yeah.
To course correct. Yeah. To ultimately achieve your goals.
He has this great line. He's like, failure is just a price you pay on the path to success. Right.
That's good.
And it's so true because it's like, it's not going to be linear. This journey, this path to exceptional achievement, it's going to be messy. There are going to be bumps in the road. It's how you navigate those bumps that really defines you.
That's so important. And, that kind of leads to another key idea from the book, which is there's this fine line between healthy obsession
Yes.
and unhealthy fixation.
Right.
Right. And he acknowledges this.
Yeah.
He's like, obsession can be destructive
Absolutely.
if it's not channeled correctly.
It's all about finding that sweet spot, right? Where your passion fuels your progress
Right.
without consuming you entirely.
Right.
Right. So think about athletes who train relentlessly, right? They also prioritize rest and recovery to prevent burnout.
Right.
It's all about finding that balance
That's
between
right.
that intensity and the self-care.
Oh, I learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time when I was so obsessed with this project I was working on, I neglected everything else. Relationships suffered.
Yeah.
My health took a hit.
Right.
And it took me a while to realize I had crossed that line from healthy obsession to unhealthy fixation.
Yeah.
It was a valuable lesson, though.
Absolutely.
Taught me the importance of setting boundaries,
Yeah.
prioritizing my well-being.
It's so powerful to hear you share that. And I think it highlights, the importance of self-awareness, right? Robinson really encourages us to regularly check in with ourselves and ask, is this level of obsession serving me? Am I still enjoying the journey? And if the answer is no, it might be time to adjust our approach. It's like, you're walking that tightrope between that passion and that balance. And, Robinson doesn't shy away from kind of the grittier aspects of this journey either, right? One of the things that I found really compelling in the book was how he talked about how exceptional people often display a level of tenacity that can seem like almost superhuman.
It's inspiring.
Right.
You read those stories and you're like, man, he highlights these individuals from, all walks of life, various fields, who achieved greatness. And it wasn't just because they were born with some, crazy talent.
Right.
It was through sheer determination and a refusal to give up.
Right.
Like Michael Phelps, for example. I mean, the guy, he talks about how Phelps's obsession with swimming, his relentless pursuit of perfection in the pool, that's what propelled him to become like the most decorated Olympian of all time.
And, it's important to note that, Phelps faced setbacks. He faced challenges.
Everyone does.
Just like anyone else.
Right.
But what set him apart was his ability to, channel those setbacks into fuel.
Right.
To use them as opportunities for growth and learning. And I think that's where the healthy part of the obsession comes in.
Yeah.
It's about having that resilience, that mental fortitude to bounce back from adversity.
Yeah. And it's not just about pushing through the tough times, right? It's about having that unwavering belief in yourself and your vision. He talks about this power of singular purpose as the driving force behind true obsession. And he asks this really, really thought-provoking question. He's like, what's that one thing that consumes your thoughts that you can't stop thinking about? Could that be your singular purpose?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's something that we all, it's a question that can spark a lot of introspection. Right?
Yeah, it really can.
And it leads to one of the most, I think, intriguing and perhaps controversial concepts in the book,
right,
which is, the idea of madness as a potential component
interesting
of exceptional achievement. Now he's careful to clarify here. He's not advocating for actual mental illness.
Right. Sure.
It's not about, romanticizing that.
Right.
But what he's suggesting, and I think it's really fascinating, is that there's often this certain level of unconventional thinking.
Right.
Of pushing boundaries, of challenging norms.
Right.
That can be perceived as madness by those who don't share that same level of passion or vision.
Right. Right. You're almost like a lone wolf.
Yeah.
You're out there.
You're out there.
You're doing your thing.
And everyone else is like, what are you doing?
You're crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about figures like, Van Gogh. Or that intense, almost tortured artistry that's depicted in, the film Whiplash. There's this fine line between genius and obsession. And sometimes it feels like they're inextricably intertwined. These individuals, they weren't afraid to embrace their unique perspectives, even if those perspectives were seen as unconventional, or even radical.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if that element of madness, that willingness to think differently, to challenge the status quo, is actually necessary.
Is that what it takes?
To achieve true greatness.
It's a compelling thought, but I think it's also important to acknowledge, right, that there are potential downsides to this kind of intensity.
Sure.
And Robinson, he actually spends a good chunk of the book talking about the importance of balance and self-care. Even when you're in the pursuit of these ambitious goals, he really stresses that healthy obsession is not about sacrificing your well-being
Right.
or neglecting those other important aspects of your life.
Right. So you can't just go all in,
It's not just tunnel vision.
burn all the bridges,
You
right?
gotta have those other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have that support system. You got to have those things that bring you joy outside of your, your singular purpose.
Absolutely. And he actually uses this really great analogy of like a car engine, right?
Cool.
You can push that engine to its limits for short bursts.
Right.
But if you're constantly redlining it,
You're going to blow it up.
you're going to burn it out.
Yeah.
So similarly, we need to find that sweet spot where we're pushing ourselves to grow, to achieve, but also taking care of our mental, emotional, and physical health.
It's about sustainability, right?
Sustainability.
Like how do you keep this going for the long haul
Exactly.
without, burning yourself out?
And I think, another thing that he talks about is the importance of having that sanity check,
Mm-hmm.
right? Having someone that you trust who can offer
Yeah.
an outside perspective.
That's huge.
That can help you kind of stay grounded when things get a little too intense.
Yeah. It's like that voice of reason.
Yeah. Could be a mentor, a friend, a therapist, anyone who can just provide that honest feedback and support.
I think we all need those people in our lives,
We do.
especially when we're chasing these big goals. It's easy to get so caught up in the whirlwind of it all, right?
Absolutely.
And lose sight of the bigger picture. Having someone who can help us maintain perspective and prioritize our well-being, that's invaluable.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, achieving these exceptional results doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice everything else in your life. It's about finding that harmonious balance where your passions fuel your growth and your growth enriches all areas of your life.
Yeah, it's like you're a conductor, right? You're orchestrating the symphony of success.
Ooh.
You got to blend the intensity of those passions
I like that.
with the wisdom of balance, and self-care.
Yeah, it's a beautiful analogy. And it reminds me of one of the takeaways that really stuck with me from Robinson's work is that he emphasizes that the path to exceptional achievement, it's rarely linear.
Right.
It's more like a winding mountain road, you know?
Yeah.
With unexpected twists and turns and breathtaking views along the way.
That's where the growth happens, right? Those detours.
Absolutely.
When you get off, the main road.
It forces you to adapt, to learn, to discover strengths you didn't even know you had.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why Robinson really encourages us to embrace that journey with all of its imperfections, to view those challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth.
Right.
And learning. He even suggests that we kind of reframe the way we think about failure.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Seeing it not as like a sign of weakness, but as valuable feedback that can help you course correct and ultimately achieve even greater success. So it's not about avoiding failure at all costs.
No.
It's about, cultivating that resilient mindset, that bounce back ability, right?
Right.
It's like that saying, fall 7 times, stand up 8. Right.
Exactly. And that resilience is such a key component of what he calls that healthy obsession.
Mm-hmm.
It's about having that unwavering belief in yourself.
Yes.
And your vision, even when you're faced with adversity.
It's that fire in the belly,
Yeah.
That keeps you going, that fuels you, that determination.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into exceptional or nothing, I'd love to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Ooh, I love it.
Inspired by Robinson's work.
Okay, hit me.
If you could dedicate yourself completely to one thing, knowing that you'd achieve these remarkable results, but you might have to make some sacrifices along the way, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a really powerful question to ponder, What is that one thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That whispers to you in those quiet moments that maybe you've been ignoring. That, when you try to push it down, it just keeps coming back up.
Yeah.
What is that one thing you're meant to do?
It could be a passion you've put on hold, a dream that you've buried, a talent you haven't fully explored, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I encourage you to embrace it with all of your heart.
Yeah.
Pursue it with that relentless passion and never, ever give up on your dreams.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And remember, You know, the journey itself is just as important as the destination, right?
Mm-hmm.
So savor every step, embrace the challenges, you know, celebrate those victories, and never stop learning, never stop growing.
Hear, hear.
Until next time, my fellow knowledge seekers, keep diving deep, keep reaching for the stars, and keep that healthy obsession burning bright. We'll see you on the next deep dive.